Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial of a Christmas tree. It's going to be kind of a rough cut style tutorial where I don't put lots of extra demos and lots of extra voiceover. I am going to do voiceover for when I paint the Christmas tree, but this is just a fun little fast painting. And I painted this on hot press, Stonehenge Aqua hot press in about 8x10 format. The bigger you paint, the more watercolor effects you're going to be able to achieve. So just keep that in mind when you're deciding how big you want to paint this. I don't have a reference photo for this. It's just a loose tree with some decorations added on. So you can just use my final painting as a reference if you need that. I'm going to have a few problems, which I like to have those in a tutorial because it's a teachable moment. So the problem that I'm going to have is mostly because of my masking. I used masking that I put in this applicator. This applicator that you're going to see me use is a product that is not a watercolor or a masking product. It's made by Viva Decor, and they have this applicator for their products that they put a lot of their different products in this one applicator. So I buy that product. It's usually around $8. I'll leave links for you in this tutorial where you can buy them there on Amazon, but I empty out whatever the product is they have put in the applicator, clean it out with water. Usually it's pretty water soluble, at least the ones that I've gotten, and then you put your masking in it, and it's pretty easy, and then you have this perfect applicator to make little dots. The problem I ran into with my masking was that it had been in my applicator bottle for about a year, and masking goes bad. So you're going to see what happens when you use old masking. If your masking does not smell like ammonia, at least if it's Winsor & Newton removable masking, that means it's gone bad, and it will be sticky and it'll stick to the paper and leave a residue that'll be hard to get off your paper when you go to take it off after it dries. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So just make sure you buy a new bottle of masking every, 7 months, I would say. And I would keep it out of any hot areas. Just keep it in a cool little drawer, and it should be good for several months, but you do need to buy it every few months. That was the only snafu. I was still able to work with this. And this is the other thing with hot press. It is a really sensitive, delicate paper compared to Arches cold press or other high quality cold press papers. So when you take the masking off, it will tear sometimes. So I don't know if it's because my masking was bad or because the hot press is delicate. So if you decide to paint this tree on hot press, then you might get some tearing when you take your masking up and when you take your tape up. So if you want to avoid that, you can still get a lot of these effects on cold press paper. Why do I choose to use hot press? Well, to me, on hot press, when you paint really loose, it captures the texture and the watery nature, the watery look of watercolor even after it has dried more than cold press. Painting on cold press is like having your painting auto blended. It blends everything softly, which is perfect when you're painting soft furry cats like I do. But it's not going to show the textures that watercolor can make as well. It will, but you have to be more strategic in that you have to let your paper set up and then make little cauliflowers. But the hot press makes these watercolor looking effects, I think, a lot better. And on hot press, your colors are going to be brighter. Also, I find that this Stonehenge, specifically this Stonehenge Aqua hot press watercolor paper, is really allowing me to lift a lot, although we will not be lifting paint off this paper. I'm painting another painting for a commission of a dog, and I wasn't very careful about saving my whites because I'm so used to Arches being good at lifting. But I went to lift and I had a problem, and I don't know if that's just because Arches has gone down in quality, but after it got bought by Canson, the quality has gone down. So I don't know what the deal is, but I love how this hot press is lifting. I'm doing another gallery level painting of Parker that I'm hoping to enter in some national shows, or at least if it doesn't turn out well, this will be a study for something that I hope I can turn into something I can enter into national shows. But I've been painting Parker on hot press, and I will share that probably with my $30 professional level Patreon. If you want to watch gallery level painting, I'm going to be uploading a video, professional level, gallery level painting to my $30 tier every once in a while. And sometimes what I do is I make those paintings available for like a month or two so more of you can watch it. So let's take a look at this tutorial and you'll see all the bumps and bruises I get along the way. But in the end, I really was very happy with this Christmas tree. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's play with some Christmas tree ideas. And to get perfect little ornaments, I'm going to use this container. I have taken this glass effect gel out and I've replaced it with masking fluid. So I did not think that this would be good after sitting in my drawer for a year. And I was so pleased when I took off the top. This was not clogged up, and if it was, you could just take a pen to clean it out, and it's got nice fresh masking in it that appears to be fine. So I'm going to use it to add perfect dots of Christmas ornaments to this painting. And so what masking does is it is like a liquid plastic that dries on your paper, and then it protects the white of the paper so that, oop, got an air bubble there. And if each of these dots aren't perfect, it is not going to matter, I promise. And so I am getting some air bubbles here and there, but you just kind of keep working it. So I'm going to put masking on my ornaments and on my strings of ornaments. Try to get them around her. And then you just want to let this stuff dry before you paint. So I'm going to mask out larger ornament shapes. And see, like this one, I don't like that, so I'll probably then you can put just little random dots too, for maybe those are lights, I don't know. Just put little lights, and if you tip this so it's more flat, you'll get smaller dots for the most part. You will get little mistake dots, but I really don't think it's going to matter in the end for this Christmas tree. And so we're going to let that dry. You want to let it dry at least 10 minutes. And then you can rub off any imperfect ones that you don't like, and then you can paint over it, and it will save the whites of your paper, which is key for getting glowing little sparkly Christmas tree effects. So let's let that dry. Our little Christmas tree baubles are all dry. I'm going to take this little bit of masking off here. I don't like it. Oh, it's sticking to my paper. Uh-oh, this is old masking. That's not good. We might have a problem. Masking goes bad, and even though that masking held up well in that applicator, it looks like it's gone bad. Darn it. Well, this is going to be a practice tree. Ugh. This masking, so it went bad, and what that means is that when you try to take it off, it sticks. It leaves a sticky residue. Ugh, I hate that. Okay, well, this is going to be fast then, because who knows how well I'll be able to get this masking off. All right, so I'm going to work kind of like a printer from top to bottom. And I'm going to start with a clean, permanent Green Light by Daniel Smith. I'm going to clean up my jar, and I'm choosing to use this bamboo brush because I like the characteristics of the brush marks it makes. It's really got a lot of personality, and maybe you'll be able to see as I go. All right, this is my bamboo calligraphy brush. I just did a whole free video on it, and I'm using, I start with tea consistency. The more water you add to your paint, the lighter your brush strokes are going to be. And I figure this is the top of the tree, so it's going to be hit by more light, so it's going to be lighter. And we want to get a variety of values. So here I'm mixing up some cream consistency, almost pure French ultramarine, but I do have some green in my brush as I mix. Now I'm putting a layer of clean, clear water there because I want there to be almost a super light, almost no color at all part of the tree. I want the two areas to bleed in together through that watery area I just put in. And my paper is already dry, so I had to kind of help it along with my brush and encourage it to melt up into that lighter green area that I just painted. But so the thicker your paint, the less water you add, the darker it is. So that French ultramarine with a little green in it is about cream consistency. Now I'm painting again with tea consistency, Daniel Smith Permanent Green Light with a little bit of Winsor Green Gold. And the idea is to have a variety of values. If you look at trees, there's super light areas, abutting super dark areas where the shadows are. Now I'm getting about milk consistency. Also notice, very importantly, to add sparkle to your tree, I'm painting around some dry areas of the paper so that I have perfectly white, dry, clean areas here and there within the tree, because trees have air in them. You know, the branches have space between them. And that adds a natural sparkle to your tree to paint around some of the white, dry paper. Okay, so this is tea consistency Winsor Green Gold here that I'm painting. And just changing the color every bough you go down, making different brush marks, mushing your brush. If you're using this bamboo calligraphy brush, it really does make interesting lyrical marks. If you mush the brush here and then use just the tip there to make more calligraphic style brush marks that are thick and then thin in areas and swishy looking. Watercolor trees are, this would be a great warm up actually. If you're about to paint something more serious, paint a tree first. This is about milk consistency, cobalt blue I'm putting in, almost pure. And then I'm going in while the top of my tree is wet and dabbing it here and there to add that color in parts of the wet paint above. Getting some Winsor Green Gold. Tea consistency, again, another light area. And notice how I'm painting around white, dry pieces of paper, again, to add sparkle to my tree. Getting some more cobalt, Winsor Green Gold, Holbein Aureolin. The point is just changing my color in my brush, not keeping it the same color. And also in my tree, not keeping it the same value as I move down. Then I got some French ultramarine. French ultramarine is a dark paint. Cobalt dries a medium. Cerulean dries light. So if you want to paint a light area, use cerulean, and it'll naturally just make your painting look lighter. If you want medium, you can use cobalt. If you want dark, you can use French ultramarine. And that's another way you can control the values in your painting. One, by how much water you add, but two, whether you use a light or a dark paint. Yellow obviously dries light. And then I'm just mushing here and there to get a really light effect in parts of my tree with a tissue. And then I just like splashes. I'm in the pro splashes camp. I feel like it adds an energy that can be seen with your feelings, but not with your eyes. And that's what art is supposed to do. At least that's what I want my art to do, is to impart a feeling that you can't see with the human eye, but you can feel it in your heart. That sounds so cheesy, but That's what splashes. It's like the energy of the tree radiating out to me. So that's just me. All right, so this is burnt sienna. And notice importantly, am I painting it as two separate parts? No, I'm letting that brown bleed up into the tree and attach to the tree. It's another universal law that we are all connected. And that I am convinced is why it makes a painting look so good, to connect disparate parts that in the real world are not connected. Connect them in your painting. Let different pieces, parts of your painting bleed together and connect. And then as this dries, you can splat more and get more texture with clean, clear water. But you want to let it set up a little bit. And there is something you can do. You can do a thumbprint test, and if it holds your thumbprint, then it's at the cauliflower prone stage, and you can get some really pretty cauliflowers, but we've got to be patient. So I'm going to give this about 3 minutes and come back. I think this is prime buckling time. So what I do is I dip my fingers in the water and give them a couple shakes and then splat. Don't want to do too many splats, but let's just see if we can get a few more cauliflowers out of that. Okay, this isn't completely dry, but I'm dying to see how much of this masking I'll be able to get off. I'm kind of scared. I'm gonna get my crepe eraser, which hopefully will do a better job. And it is tearing my paper, which I thought it might. Okay, it is coming up though, thank goodness. I'm lucky. I'm gonna have to throw that particular masking away and refill. It is tearing. This is all dry. I am getting some tearing. I think this is still wet. Yeah, that's a wet spot. And I just wonder if my masking was better and not gone bad, if this wouldn't be tearing like it is. Probably not. That came up better than I expected, but it did leave some tears. But sometimes I've noticed hot press does tear, so it might just be because of my hot press. Let's put in some Christmas ornaments. I'm gonna get a smaller brush. I think I'll get my 6 round. What I'll do is make a mix of phthalo and opera for a really popping red. All right, so I've got a nice red. Let's see how this paper that's torn will take my paint. Might be okay. It looks like it's okay. For my purposes, it seems to be fine. All right, I'm going to add some yellow for more orange. So I have a few more colors in my tree. Very unsteady hands, so my ornaments are like really wonky. All right, and then I think I'll put in purple for the these fun little, I want it light though. I feel like I need a more synthetic brush. This is a little too floppy. All right, I'm gonna use a Kolinsky 00. I'm not liking my lack of control because my brush doesn't have enough snap. You can really see my paper tears here. Big bummer. All right. Shall we put the star on? Put some little bits of orange here and there, or yellow. Very cheery. me see if we can make some of these run a little bit like they're glowing into the tree. Sometimes a little bit of soft edges and bleed can make a really pretty effect. I love how this one's bleeding. Have it bleed into the tree. All right, fun. I think I'll get a little bit more cobalt blue. And just water it down and don't want quite that many splashes out here though. All right, happy Christmas tree. Hope you enjoyed that. All said and done, this looks pretty good. So let's take some tape off. With hot press, you do want to be careful. You probably want to use a hair dryer. This is coming up pretty well. Sometimes it doesn't though. So I'm kind of taking a risk, but I'm not planning on doing anything fancy with this. So that part will be under a mat anyway, so I'm not worried about it with the hair dryer. It is coming up a lot though. Do you see that? So if I used a hair dryer and go slow, it wouldn't come up like that. All right, to sign, I'm just going to use my Micron, Pigma Micron. This is a 01. This comes in a set. You can go to supply list to find all my supplies. You could put some scribble in here. I think it'd be cute. But for now, I'm going to leave it and call it done. And we got pretty lucky with the masking. It didn't do too bad a damage, I don't think. I think it looks good. So happy holidays. I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to follow me to learn not just the how, but the why of watercolors so you move along on your watercolor journey a lot faster. Now go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.